Welcome to Aligned and Soulful Leadership. My name is Kavita Melwani, and I empower soulful, multicultural women of color to opulently shine their light without the hustle. I truly believe you can fulfill your soul's desire without losing yourself, your health, or your life in the process. I know that you can ignite your confidence and know your worth, all while walking your divine, unique path. So in this podcast, I will dive deep into topics, challenges, and blocks that women of color experience as they rise up into their aligned life and work. My deep desire is that BIPOC women can lead through their inner wisdom in a way that honors their soul. Are you ready to rise up as the leader you were born to be? Then this podcast is for you. Have you already fallen off track when it comes to achieving your vision and your goals for this year? Well, if you have, you're not alone. Usually by this time of year, we start to regress into our old habits, or we start to question if we can actually accomplish the things that we set out to accomplish this year. Or people in our lives can seemingly throw us off track. So in this podcast, I am focusing on the relationships and how they impact you, or maybe impacting you in achieving your vision and your goals for this year and beyond. So if relationships are something that you have been challenged with, then this podcast is for you. So first of all, most of us have come out of spending time with people over the holidays. Whether for you that is extended family or friends or your immediate family, most likely you spent some time this holiday season around others. I mean, we are social beings, so that's pretty normal. And so what can happen is the people around us can influence us in ways that we don't even realize. So there are different types of relationships. So first I want to talk about the 3 types of relationships. And the first type is the intimate relationship. And so the intimate relationships are your partner, if you have one, spouse, that would be considered an intimate relationship. Then there are friendships, and they can be close friendships or acquaintances. Those are people that you may choose to be around. And the third is family. So this could be your immediate family or your extended family. And actually, I'll just add a fourth, and the fourth one being like the collective, right? So the they, when we say things like they say, right? That's who I'm talking about. And it's because though the they can also influence us without us even realizing how much. The influence is usually subconscious. So how do you allow relationships, any of these? Maybe for you, one is stronger than the other, but how do you allow these different types of relationships to impact your vision? So I'll give you some examples that may help uncover what's happening for you. For a lot of clients that I work with, they have children or teenagers in their household that they're raising. And so oftentimes the responsibilities that come with raising their children can get in the way of them achieving their vision or their goals. And often, this is more often the case, the guilt that comes with maybe not feeling like you measure up based on what the collective says that you should be doing for your children or your teens. Okay, so there's that sense of, yes, I can't do this because I have to do this for my child. And maybe that's true. And maybe it isn't. Maybe that's a convenient way for you to avoid actually realizing your vision and your goals. or you're doing something that you really don't need to do anymore or don't need to do at all, and you just continue to do it because of the sense of obligation. So that's a way that a relationship can get in the way of you achieving what you want to achieve in your life. So that's like in the way of responsibilities. The other is the judgment of friends. And it could be the perceived judgment of friends. Maybe you have some friends or acquaintances that have mentioned or said things about your vision or your goals that you want. Maybe you want to step into your new career this year, and you heard feedback from others telling you that, you know what, you're doing so well. Why do you want to change? It is take advantage right now. Don't change your career. You'd have to do this, this, and that. So that you may be hearing feedback that is discouraging you from moving forward in your dreams and goals and vision. So that could be one way that friendships are impacting you and actually stopping you from trying what you desire. Then there's family. So I talked a little bit about children in that, like the responsibilities, the family obligations, right? And so for some of my clients that come from, especially first generation, second generation immigrants that come from these backgrounds, there is a deep sense of family that impacts them on a regular basis, because the perception, acceptance of their family is so important to them, and they are not wanting to, push their family away or put them at arm's length. They really want to continue to have a relationship with their families, their extended families. So this extended family can influence us in so many ways, especially if maybe over the holiday season, you spent some extra time with them. So when we spend time with the extended family, especially if you have a sense of relationships that are, have kind of fluid boundaries, which I've heard from a lot of my clients and is the case for me as well, then that time you spend with them, you can almost feel a sense of you regressing back to old habits without even realizing it. Maybe it's some old behavior patterns, such as people pleasing. Maybe you are the person in your family that takes care of others. Maybe you're the one that is the joker or the jester in your family, right? So you're the one that makes sure everybody's happy. Or maybe you are the one that is the absorber and absorbs all of the energy of others, especially if you're empathic. This may be the case, right? So there's lots of ways that, we almost have a persona, a role that we show up in our families. And so when we establish our lives outside our family of origin, outside our extended families, and then we go back to visit or stay with them, then we can often fall into those old patterns, right? And so those old patterns, there's nothing inherently wrong with those old patterns. They only are a challenge if they're stopping you from moving forward. If you start to take some steps towards your vision, and then you are with your extended family and you're given the message that the things that you want don't make sense, they're not for you, that's what other people do, and some of those messages can be straightforward and actually said to you, and others are implied, right? Implied based on messages you received during your childhood. So in either way, this may be impacting you moving forward. So I want to take a moment and ask you, check in with yourself. Where are you with the vision and the goals that you set for yourself in the beginning of the year? And if you haven't set a vision and goals, I'm going to encourage you to do that, because whether you consciously set it or not, you are setting an intention vision for the year. Okay, so the previous 2 episodes before this, I talk about how to create a vision, and I lead you through visualization, and I also talk about purpose, and which was the last week's episode. So if you need those as a precursor to create your vision, then I'm going to encourage you to go back and listen to those episodes so that you can start to consciously create your vision. Okay, and so then now if you've already worked on that and you're hitting the first roadblocks, right? The first challenges, and one of those challenges happens to be relationships. And maybe after listening to me, you didn't realize that some relationships were influencing your movement towards what you want. And now that I'm bringing this forward, you're starting to realize the impact. Okay, so that realization, those insights that you're having are going to help you move forward, because if you're aware of it, then you can act differently. Then you can choose differently. Okay, so how do these relationships stop you? And so I talked about, intimate relationships, friendships, family, maybe even the collective idea of what's acceptable, right? And so, what is acceptable for you to do or to achieve when you're in a pandemic? Maybe there's something there, right? There's something that you're feeling that is not appropriate. You're not allowed to be happy. You're not allowed to have purpose. You're not allowed to, as other people are suffering, right? So what is the collective influence on what you want in your life? And so these relationships can stop yourself. It can stop you from moving forward. It can also plug into that need that we have to belong. I mean, that is a primal need, to belong to a tribe, because it's a sense of safety. So what behavior are you choosing? What is stopping you from moving forward because you want to belong? And, like I said, this may be subconscious. You might not even realize it. So my goal today is for you to start to bring this up, to bring this forward so you can choose differently, right? And then another way is these unspoken expectations. So especially this happens in families and friendships, and even more specifically in intimate relationship, right? There's these unspoken rules that you've created with your partner, and then you're expected to have a certain role in the relationship as well as your partner in a certain way. And so as we change and we want to change, there is a sense of, are we letting this person down in some way, right? And so, a lot of times we end up filling in the stories. Okay, so we take experiences we've had, we take what a person or people have said to us or to others, we take what has been shared via social media or media, and it's all stored in our brains, and it impacts how we act and how we show up. Okay. And so when we are choosing to do something, right, or we set a goal, right? And so maybe one of your goals this year is to start your own business. And then, the collective of, 50% of businesses fail comes up for you that you've heard, right? The statistic. And, or, who are you to start a business? You have no business experience, or businesses are not going to make money right away, and you don't have the money that is needed, the savings that is needed to start a business, right? Whatever that story is that you're filling in that is stopping you from moving forward is a story. So ask yourself how much of this story that's stopping you is really true, and how much of it is your interpretation. And so when we think that people are going to judge us because of what we're doing, a lot of times they may have said something last year, 2 years ago, last month, that they don't even remember saying. But we're taking what they said and we're filling in the story, and we're making decisions based on that. And when you're doing that, you're stopping yourself from really owning who you are and showing up in the way that you would like to show up. So ask yourself, am I moving forward? If not, if I'm not moving forward, if I'm not taking steps towards my vision, what is getting in the way? What thoughts are getting in the way? Do I have concerns about the people in my life and how they will feel about me moving forward into this vision? And how much of those concerns are true? And how many of those concerns are just the story that you are telling yourself? So the easiest way to do this is to just pick one person, okay? Pick one person in your life that's really important to you. And maybe you are able to even access what you're concerned about them thinking. And ask yourself, is this really true that they're thinking this? And, if it's true, is it something, how are you choosing this to be true? How are you deciding that this is true? Is it based on something that they said in the past? Is it based on something they did in the past? Or are you taking one statement or several statements and filling in the story? And then taking that a step further, even if it's true that this person won't approve of your actions or the changes that you're making in your life, so what? What does that mean? Does that mean you're going to be abandoned? Does that mean that you won't be loved? What is that story that you're telling yourself? Really, really think about this. And if it's not coming to you, you can sit and write about it. I'm going to encourage you to really check in, because this is an opportunity for you to continue and move past this. Okay, and I'm going to give you a story of one of my clients that came up for me. And I worked with this client, a couple years ago, I would say. And so this client came to me because they wanted to change their career. They felt like their career was a dead end, and they started looking at all these options. They started looking at furthering their education. They started looking at maybe starting a business. They started looking at master's degrees, certification programs. I mean, you name it, they were looking. Okay, they looked everywhere. And so as we started working together on figuring out first, what do they really want to do? What is it that you really want here, right? Because you can pursue 100 things and go nowhere. So instead, really being clear first. So that's what I do with my clients, is really being clear first. And, sometimes that takes a little longer than they would like, and sometimes it's quick, right? So we don't know. In this person's case, it took some time. And really, what it came down to for this person was they felt like their career was not good enough, mainly because of a relationship. And the relationship with a parent. And this parent was not even with us anymore. So this parent had passed away years ago. And so they based their internal desire and really wanting the approval of this parent. And they base their behavior and their desires on wanting that approval. And so when they had that realization, things shifted. And it really took some time to see what they really wanted in their life. And, they still made some changes, did some exploration on a career. And it was really important for this person to realize that that was their driving factor, that wanting the approval from this person, that no matter what they did, they're never going to get, because the person wasn't around anymore. And even if the person was around, the approval of this person is not going to give them the self-approval that they were really desiring. So if, I'm going to invite you to connect with me for a clarity session. If that story resonated with you, if you're feeling stuck and you're not sure what you want to do, and you're looking for around you and you're looking at multiple things and you don't know where to go, I would love to connect. I have a link available in my show notes. We would connect for a one-on-one call for about half an hour or so, and I can really hear what's been happening in your career, in your life, business, and see how I can support you. And even just coming to the call, people receive value, even if we decide that working together is not a fit, right? So I would love to speak with you if that feels aligned. And if you're not ready for that, and even before that call, if you want to book that, I'm going to encourage you to pick one goal, a good, juicy goal, one that you maybe have been delaying or putting off year after year. Maybe it's a goal that you're afraid to say out loud, but really pick a good goal, right? Something that you really want to create. And, own that goal, write it down, and check in with you to see what's stopping you. Now, if you forgive yourself if it's been 10 years or 15 years, whatever, that doesn't matter. What matters is now, what you're willing to do now. So pick that goal, write it down, recognize the things that are stopping you, and take one aligned action step towards achieving what you want. Okay, so that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. If you take one thing from today's episode, I love to hear that. I am on social media. I'm on Instagram, and I have a Facebook page. If you want to send me a message, I'm at Kavita Life Coach. You can follow me and write a comment and let me know, what is that goal? What is that goal? Just sharing it, saying it out loud is energizing it even more. So I'm so excited to see your goals and hear from you. So in the meantime, until next week, take good care. Bye. Thank you for joining me for Aligned and Soulful Leadership. I was inspired to start this podcast as a way to empower women of color to rise up into their aligned leadership. Remember, I will have all the resources I mentioned during this episode available in the show notes at alignedandsoulfulpodcast.com. I'm your host, Kavita, and if you enjoyed this podcast, please tell your friends. And if you haven't received my free abundance meditation and exercise, then go to alignedandsoulfulleadership.com and subscribe to my newsletter, and you will receive this powerful visualization and exercise to ignite your abundant life. Thank you. Until next time, take good care. Bye.